Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Sunday flagship podcast. I'm your host, Martin the Governor Lambert, and you know the drill by now. Town take the lead, Town squander the lead, and Ipswich Town lose the game. That is, again, what happened yesterday. This on the way at Accrington Stanley, a team I never thought I'd actually see us play in the league, let alone be looking up at from a league position. But hey, ho, there we go. That is the facts, but some people don't like the facts, Matthew Phillips. I'm coming for you this afternoon. I've got the bazooka ready. And we'll be firing on all cylinders. You can see the WhatsApp group. It's been fun over the last 24 hours, but we have got a very active chat. There'll be a live link. It's already on Twitter. For those that follow me on Twitter, head there now. You can use that, get involved, have your say. We'll be breaking it down and giving it to you. You may like this, you may not like this, but it will be 100% real, and we'll give it to you unfiltered. Let's get a few comments first of all. We've got Matt Stannard, afternoon. Hope you're well. Hey, everyone. Hope those who went yesterday all got back safely. Then he asked, how's the cookie dough? I've just bought it. I'll be having it after this show. It's pizza and cookie dough consolation prize day today. Colin Plum is fuming over yesterday. Just can't get over it. Lee Brown, hope. Afternoon, everyone. Terrible performance. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And still, who went to the game yesterday. Afternoon, all. Disappointing result, but a good day was had. Great to meet No Filter Vicky and Stephen Parry yesterday. The power of the community. Andy, welcome in. Dr. Zach King, welcome in. Good afternoon, Gavin. Colin, did you like my stats? Go. Oh, I loved your stats, Colin. They come in great handy when Matthew Phillips brings out the great man's name a bit later on in the conversation. David, good afternoon, everybody. And Rob Holmes, good afternoon. Don't forget, you can support the show through Ko-Fi. Everything goes back into the platform to create more shows, better content, lighting, blah, blah, blah. All of that jazz. We have got some prediction league information. Another great league for some people. But we're all here for the Ipswich Town, Accrington Stanley post-mortem. So let's go straight into it. First of all, let's bring in one of my friends. He is, of course, the media mogul. Hello, Matt.
How are we all doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Good, yeah. Fine, thanks.
Tell the people at home what's on your heart, how you really feel about sitting down to do this show today. Tell the people at home.
Well, I did say to you, this is going to be a really negative show, isn't it? We don't need more negativity in our lives as Ipswich Town fans, do we? But we're obviously going to get it. So there we go.
Maybe so. But let's start. Let's start with a little bit of non-ITFC news, I suppose. Your good lady wife is running the London Marathon.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
My first question, a bit ignorant, has it kicked off yet?
Yeah. So she's doing the virtual one, so she's not actually in London. So you've got 24 hours to do the 26.2 miles. So she's done 17 already. She came back here for a ice bath and some scrambled eggs on toast. So she's going to go out and do the last 9 miles now. She should be done by about 5 o'clock. I would have thought 3:30.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, big up to her. She
appreciates
doing
that. And it's been a good community of people out, lots of people running it. It's also the Chelmsford Marathon today, believe it or not.
Is it really?
Yeah, so there's runners everywhere by all accounts.
Is it later than normal, the London Marathon this year? Because it feels later.
It's April normally.
Right.
It's April. But yeah. So obviously lockdown, blah, blah, the pandemic, all that stuff. It's gone to October. Yeah.
For those that maybe want to watch some good football and some decent stuff at the Coppleston, I think it's Coppleston Centre this afternoon. What's Up Warriors and Cops FC disability teams are taking part in the Suffolk FA first football tournament of the season. I just pop along there and watch some good football, support them all. Said I'd mention it on the show, and there we go. So if you are in the Ipswich area and you're short of things to do, and as Matt says, negativity perhaps isn't your thing, pop along there and give it a watch. But before we get into Stanley, let's complete the team for today. There's no crunch up because he's refereeing today. The man in the middle who can't keep control is once again going to probably lose control. Let's be honest.
He was dishing reds again yesterday, wasn't he?
In kids' football. I mean, his like paperwork must be just substantial, you know.
Players hate his reports.
But joining us to complete the team is Mrs. Worldwide. but now he's come back into the side and he's made that position his own, and he's really hit a consistent run of form.
You asking me?
I am.
Yeah.
Hey, Riley, how are you today?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, we're very well here in Singapore. We've just had 1 week out of 4 in the current lockdown. So Matt's right. We don't need any more negativity in our lives.
Absolutely. Well, look. Somebody on YouTube by the name of Mark Evans, said this is the most negative ITFC channel on the internet, which obviously he'd never been to certain parts of the forum that you've been to, Matthew, but the most negative part of the internet. So I want to start today's show with some positivity. Give me something positive from the football from yesterday. Because if you can give it to me, I'll work with it.
Well, I think a positive that came out of the game yesterday, it was very much like the Cheltenham game, wasn't it? It was very much like the Cheltenham game, I thought, in that, we've lost 2-1, having taken the lead. The fact that we were quite clinical, weren't we? Because we didn't actually create anything, yet we still went 1 up, and it was a great finish from Macaulay Bonne. I did see a comment on when I dipped into the show yesterday saying, where would we be without Macaulay Bonne's goals? Which is kind of crazy, really, because he's here. It's just a hypothetical thing. But I think we had 2 shots on a day where no one really created anything. And listen, get it straight. Accrington Stanley didn't create too much either. It just happened that they had 2 shots ago and they both went in, but there you go. So at least we're scoring goals on half chances, effectively. That's probably the only really positive I could take out of it. But again, second half, for whatever reason, the tempo wasn't good in the first half yesterday. Expectations were high, Kate, after Tuesday night, the 6-0.
Oh, massively.
Okay,
so yeah. So I'd say Bonne's 8 goals of the season so far. Yeah, and that's really kind of the only positive. I can't believe we didn't have a shot or a chance after that.
Much after that, absolutely.
That's a head scratcher after Tuesday night's massive result. Talk about that as now looking really fluky.
It wasn't. It was a really good performance against probably not very good opposition. But then again, they went out and beat MK Dons, I think, yesterday, 2-1.
Yeah.
The team we struggled with, to be fair.
So you've both given me a positive. Sounded like the barrel was being scraped on both. This is, Mark Evans, absolutely entitled to his opinion, but this is a channel that's always dealt with what the football team gives us. And quite frankly, so far, the football team has dealt nothing but rubbish to us. 10 games in, 2 wins. An F1 budget.
No. They weren't rubbish Tuesday. You were ecstatic. I've never seen you so happy. I've never seen Mike Brown so happy.
1-6-0. Played really well. But was that is that an anomaly? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I mean,
maybe not. Because you're judging, you can't only on 46 games can you then look back and go, that wasn't, I can't even say it. That was a fluke.
I don't subscribe to that. You see,
part of look, we're talking about marathons, right? The missus has done 17 miles. She's still got another 9 to do. We've done 10 games out of 46. Still got 36 games. By the way, that's almost the Premier League season, isn't it? 38 games. It's almost a whole campaign. So I don't feel like you can write them off yet. I know it's difficult. Look, listen, I'm a huge Cook fan. We said on this show 9 months before he was even appointed that he could be a good manager for us. I still stand by that, which is why I'm so invested in him. Because you just speak to Barry at Wigan, you speak to the guys at Chesterfield, you speak to the guys at Pompey. He delivered really good results. He delivered trophies there.
But he hasn't got the full team.
You've got to give him some time.
I just worry that...
here's a question. Kate, sorry to interrupt. Here's a question for you, Kate. When you started at CNN, you came with expectation. You just started being at Sky. You've come over as like a big kind of figurehead presenter. If they turned around to you and said after 5-6 months, actually, you're not really fitting in here, you'd go, well, give me a bit more time. We'd do that in all our jobs, wouldn't we? We'd do that in all our jobs.
Yeah, they did. They did not say that, and yes, that is how I.
They wouldn't say that to me, obviously.
No. Okay. No, they renewed my contract, so there you go. No,
I'm trying to replicate it into normal people's lives. At the end of the day, he's someone who's come into a new job of work, be it you a successful Sky presenter like Kate, where you work in, I don't know, on a building site or in the public sector, or wherever it might be. You need more than 6 months to prove yourself. Come on.
No, you don't.
I just worry that the expectation is just so high. And whilst the takeover was amazing for us to cover this summer, was it the right time? I don't know.
Well,
I've been wrestling with that myself. But if you go back to who was the first owner we interviewed, Burkay, wasn't it? Burkay Bukai. Yeah. He does say, be wary. It might not happen in this first year. And at the moment, when we even alluded to it last week, Kate, we did say maybe expectation is too high. And by the way, we know that Cook has got high expectations, but the fact everyone's getting pissed off is because they've got huge expectations. Maybe we just need to tailor those expectations.
That's me. I need to tailor them. I need to listen to you, Matt.
Oh, well, I said we'd be champions. And Macaulay Bonne would get 20 plus goals. I feel like the latter's going to happen, right? I don't think the first one's going to happen. So I'm going to have to hold my hands up so I didn't get it right. But the fact is, this club's going in a good position with the Americans that came in and the turnover players and Ashton, and they're getting plans together. If it doesn't happen this year, so what? They're going to go bust.
You're taking what Burkay has said, and then you're sort of manipulating.
I'm just telling you what he said.
Yeah. There's a difference between it might not happen this year, but we'll finish in 5th place, go to a semi-final of the playoffs, and fall short.
Maybe.
Then there is a difference of being 19th after 10 games, playing world beaters of AFC Wimbledon, Morecambe, Cheltenham, MK Dons, Burton. You've not played anybody.
When the fixture list was announced, Kate, I said I don't like the look of Burton and Cheltenham back to back. We'll get 9 points there, wherever it would be from the first.
What are we gaining? What are we gaining by waiting? Look at Watford, right? Look, I never thought I'd say in my life, I want to be Watford.
You don't
Watford? Yes, I do want to be Watford.
Yes, manager who's got 7 points from 7 games in the Premier League. That's enough to keep you up.
Because because loyalty in football is a romantic notion. It's no longer existing. They looked at what he's delivering to them in the Premier League, and it wasn't going along with what they want for the football club. So adios amigo, don't buy a house in Watford.
They've had 9 managers in 6 years, Kate, I think it is.
And how many years have they been in the Premier League in that time?
You tell me.
Ipswich Town have got a tradition of sticking with managers far too long.
Well, Lambert was.
So basically,
Lambert ages,
because he was dealing with absolute dross, man, and he was still getting a better tune out of a set of keys than Cook was out of a trumpet. Like, I just can't see what we're doing. I can't see why would we wait and possibly. I mean, I still have the Bolton, and maybe that's premature. I would have sacked him then. Obviously, I didn't know about his dad at that point when I said that. But obviously his dad news came out on that.
That's a horrible result in anyone's book, right?
And that changes things. Yeah. But I'm just looking at his body of work as a whole, which he doesn't want us to do. I know, but I'm going to anyway. And I'm seeing no development and no progress.
I'm just waiting for Adams to comment.
That's the word, progress for me. Are we seeing progress?
So you didn't see progress Tuesday then in the 6-0. The first 6-0 win at Pullman Road since about 2007.
But you don't get promotion on 1 6-0 win.
And you don't not get promoted losing 2-1 at Accrington.
But you do but you do looking at 10 games this year and then 10 games last year and looking at it and going,
I can predict exactly what's going to happen, right? Shrewsbury will get a good showing and you'll all be cock-a-hoop again and cartwheeling and singing in the rain like we were Tuesday night. Guaranteed. No. I'm guaranteeing it now. We'll get 3 points against Shrewsbury.
No.
You heard it here first.
Because what the thing is, Kate, I mean, you're a fantastic journalist, award-winning. You know how it is as well. If you've got this feeling towards a manager and then he beats a team, draws against another team, and then beats a team again. So he picks up 7 points from 9 as Cookie did. If you were to write a column or come on a podcast and say, but he should still be fired, you would be accused of being what? A vendetta against that man. You can't be impartial. So once that was happening, I took a step back. Wednesday we played fairly well. I said, "Hey, look, I don't like the guy. I think he shouldn't be here, but you got to hope a corner has been turned." But once again, after the back of 3 decent performances, you fall short. In game is where he's losing us the games, Kate. Again, yesterday, John Coleman switched it up at half time. Cookie then was left wanting and answering. And those things he's not going to change. You're obviously someone who was also doubting Cookie early part of the season. Where are you now in your feelings on the manager at the football club?
I'm going to get ripped to shreds for this. He's never been my man.
No, you did say that. You did say
Never.
that.
You did.
Yeah, I sound like a broken record. Because we didn't get that new manager bounce, I feel like because we didn't have that, then there was just no momentum to build on.
There was that bounce, wasn't there? You're right. That wasn't there for whatever reason.
We missed out on the playoffs because of him. This new team is supposed to gel. Okay, it might have done on Tuesday, but it didn't look like it yesterday. I just worry that the teams around us, all their summer signings are gelling, and so now we're gonna be playing catch up in more than one way.
By the way, we have lost 3 times at Accrington in the last 2 years. It was like 1 in the cup and 2 in the league. So for any Ipswich fan thinking we're going to go there and just turn them over easy and then get really annoyed that we didn't. I mean, come on, just look at a little bit of history. I, for one, thought we'd go there and probably win. I did say 2-1, Kate, on Friday, and then I said 3-1. I'd had a beer at that point. But, I mean, it looked like it was going to be plain sailing when Macaulay put us one up. But there you go. But things happen. Look, Coventry beat Fulham 4-1 yesterday and Portsmouth beat Sunderland 4-0.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
But you're taking one game at a time there.
I'm taking one game at a time.
Nottingham Forest sacked Chris Hughton after how many games?
Come on, Chris Hughton's not a good manager, is he? What's he ever done as a manager? Got Newcastle promoted. Promoted.
Well, you could say, Paul Cook's got a level of management. Like Chris Hughton at least has managed in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Paul Cook would only dream of being a
manager as well.
Plays very boring football. Us Norwich fans, us Brighton fans.
I wasn't supporting him. It was more of a.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I don't disagree. Look, I've not got blinkers on here. I am agreeing with what you're saying, but also I feel like Cook straddles 2 eras. Yeah. The Lambert plays he didn't want. That's why he doesn't like being compared. He doesn't like his whole record being looked at because he feels like that's not his team. And to be fair,
2 wins.
So it's 2 wins, right? And to be fair to him, he's saying that's not good enough either. And it's down to me, the staff, the players. He is saying he's not doing a Paul Lambert and trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Incredible performance when you were falling asleep after an hour. He's being straight up and honest.
So basically, are we in the realms of he's not Paul Lambert, so he'll do?
Oh yeah, tractor boy Botswana. Stop bullying Matt.
Stop bullying Matt. I mean, we're not bullying Matt at all.
What does it mean? Stop bullying, Matt.
I just feel, and this is what I can't quite shake. And I'm not being able to since the start of the season. Really, I just can't shake that the things we're not good at are things that he will never, ever, ever be good at. Because these are the things you're saying about Barry from Wigan. Well, Barry and Freddie from Wigan and Portsmouth, respectively, both have said in-game changes are not Cook's thing. That's what's currently losing us the points. He's never then on that record going to get better at that. So why am I wasting up my time? That's where I'm coming from with that, Matt.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think he makes his subs too late. I don't think he did yesterday. I think the first sub was around the hour mark, if I'm right, 63 minutes, I think.
Alex Matthew, who I rarely agree with, said when James Norwood came on, it was 10 minutes too late.
That was a little bit of desperation, wasn't it? Because suddenly he stuck 2 up top, which he doesn't like playing. Not that I thought Norwood would probably get us back into the game particularly. Maybe his in-game management isn't as good as it should be because he hasn't got Liam Richardson there, and that then brings us back to the other argument we've all been having in that he should have an assistant. But I don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, this is Ipswich Town. I feel like I said about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and Colin agreed with me. It's highs and it's lows. We're in the 3rd tier. This club isn't defending titles or cups or silverware. It's done nothing for 20 years. Last thing it did was get relegated from the Championship. For times like that, relegated from the Premier League. Time before that, he finished 5th in the Premier League. It's done nothing for treaded water for 20 years. So don't get too precious about one-off results or a run of 10 games. It's done nothing. It's done nothing.
Are we in relegation form? That's what I worry about.
7 from 12.
It's borderline, right? I do think it's borderline. I went back and just watched what we said in our preview shows before the season kicks off, and I said I thought by the time of October we'd be pushing on, and we're not. So we're behind the curve there. But in the days, like I say, Ipswich, if you don't like it, go and support Watford, go and support Man City, go and support someone else. Clubs have issues. Barcelona have issues. They're losing their shit in Spain right now. If you don't like
why?
it, club. It's easy.
Ipswich is giving me issues.
Don't go. Anyone in the comments? You don't over unit. If you don't like it, don't go.
Disagree. Why can't you change the way you do things?
If you don't like it, don't buy away tickets. Don't travel 200 miles and stand in the rain and then go, I'm pissed off.
But you can't say that because your football team is, for a lot of people, your life. It dictates how your weekend is. I'm just questioning why Ipswich Town Football Club must continue to follow the same mind-numbing process year in, year out of employ manager, see it's going wrong, but give patience. Oh, that season's a write-off because that guy came in too late. So we'll give him the next year, and then we'll just repeat and repeat. Whereas Watford, to their credit, they see it's not going right. No, but they're a football team that you should be looking to replicate because they're a team that have never been bigger than us. But yet they're a team that's consistently over the last 10 years got it right. They've got it right.
I couldn't even name you one Watford player. It's a team of anonymous overseas players. I can remember when they loaned in the whole of Udinese to get promoted.
I completely agree. I agree with that. Go and support someone else's. I disagree so vehemently with you on it.
Well, why not? If you don't like it, don't go.
Many don't anymore because the team's the third
I've
tier
not
team.
seen that in the crowds. I've not seen that in the crowds. Was it 21,000 last Saturday?
That for much longer.
At
least I have to queue up for the toilet every time.
What's Ashton's personality like, and how patient is he?
Big up, Lewis.
As a man.
Well, Ashton's a funny one for me because I like what he brings to the table, but I mean, at the same time, there's a little bit of soundbite in there, isn't there? We're going to be running to adversity. It does sound like a little bit car salesman to me, Kate, in all honesty. I do wonder if, like, having been around players and that, I do wonder if they sort of like kind of snigger at it. It's a good soundbite for supporters and journalists, but I don't know. It seems like a little bit of nonsense that to me. But you know, you can't disagree with what he's done. You know, over his whole CV, and he's come here and he's impressed people, and the famous dashboard, whatever that looks like. Part of me just thinks it's an Excel spreadsheet, but I'd be disappointed if it was. But it's part and parcel of why they've managed to get in 19 players from June the 1st right through to now.
Absolutely.
And Paul Cook, by the way, and Paul Cook. Connor Chaplin and Sammy Millsy, just two, who was sold on Cook and dropped. We said he pried it. Dropped down.
Tractor Boy Botswana, go. You're talking through your bum about Watford. Well, last 10 years, they've spent 50% of their time in the Premier League. So I'll continue to talk through my real.
We're a long way from the Premier League right now, though, aren't we?
Because we stick with the crap too long, quite frankly. David, it is in my blood, even though I'm in Somerset. Matt Stannard, if the players were honest and said we're not going to be asked today, then perhaps fans wouldn't go. Monty, not even a sign of trying to protect the 1-0 lead by shutting up shop like 5-4-1, especially away games like yesterday.
Players aren't robots. Fans have to realise that. We go to work sometimes, you don't feel like it, do you? Well, got banging headache, whatever. I'm not really on it today.
This is it.
Players are exactly the same. Chris Hall said that from West Brom. He come on and goes, players are not robots. It takes a while to change the culture. I do think there's probably a big culture change going on behind the scenes. Not that should particularly affect performances too much. But I do feel like there's still probably some kind of hangover from the Evans era where we've done, like I said, done absolutely nothing, not troubled promotion more than twice. That could be. Even Ashton walked around the stadium and goes, this needs changing, that needs changing, the pitch needs changing. There's lots of changes going on, and maybe that does transfer to the pitch. Maybe.
Absolutely. Leighton Durham, which idiot put Norwich and Ipswich away 5 miles apart on the same day, had to get on the same train with them cretins. Track the boy again, Botswana. As anchor, I should be impartial. Nope. I'm a fan, the same as Kate, the same as Matt, the same as you.
We're not the BBC.
Not the BBC. I'm not any other publication that you might be watching the internet.
Impartial. I've not noticed that already. Got another fiver. There's another fiver in the bin there, look. Neil Perks.
Neil Perks. He's running some sort of charity run as well, I think, Neil.
Is it?
Come to think of it. Yeah, he is.
Running today.
Dr. Zach King, I like Ashton. Read a comment yesterday saying he'd gone anonymous, but he's been defo around Lincoln. Yeah, he was there meeting fans again yesterday, wasn't he?
Yeah. It's very good.
I just wonder, right? You know, he's big on standards and culture, Kate. Standards and culture. 10 games in. Is it the standard that you want it to be right now? Is it meeting the standards and culture test that Mark Ashton himself is putting into place at the football club?
That we can't answer, I don't think, Kate. Because
Kate, you've thrown your voice marvelously well there, Kate. How you do that was absolutely amazing.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see how Cook and Ashton interact, and I'd love to hear like the reassurances that Cook is giving Ashton. I just don't know really what Ashton's like personality-wise, so I don't know if he's sort of in with Cook for the long game, or if they're thinking, oh, now's the time, he's got to go. That's all.
Matt?
Don't disagree with that. There was rumours that Ashton interviewed Cook for Bristol City, wasn't there? And obviously didn't get that role for whatever reason, and he went to Pearson. But I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. We don't really know. We don't really know what Ashton's, you're talking about culture and objections and all that kind of thing. We don't really, other than to appease fans, we don't really know what they're like. Because what football clubs will say to fans is often quite different to what they'll say to each other. And Paul Cook did say to us at Bury St Edmunds, Kate, when we all went down there for that pre-season game, this is not going to happen overnight. And then, 10 games is not even a quarter of the season yet. Give this guy time. He is a good manager. I'd love to know you'd all like to in.
He's had 30 games nearly.
I'm not judging him on that. The Joss Lambert was given.
So we're not counting anything from last season. It all started.
Personally, I'm not. No.
Okay.
No, he's the head. He's the cheerleader of the cult of Cookie. So
I hope you're not skewing data there.
Skewing data.
But what we can judge him on is this season, and he's below. Well, certainly below my expectation, because I thought we'd be champions quite comfortably. But I don't know. But you've gone from high. But Ipswich fans go from ridiculous highs, Kate, to stupid lows.
That's football fans.
So we won 6. It's Arsenal fans, isn't it? So Arsenal entitlement.
No, it's Ipswich fans.
We won 6-0, and now we're celebrating everywhere. We lose 2-1 at Accrington. It's the end of the world.
That's not true, though, is it? Because
if you win 6-0 on a Tuesday night, like you're expecting a bit of momentum to carry over to Saturday.
Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly. And it was a case of one step forward and two back. You're not wrong, which is why we was all looking forward to yesterday. But both results came out of nowhere. The 6-0 came out of nowhere, and the 2-1 loss to Accrington came out.
Big up, big Dunk coming through at £5. Love it, Dunk. I'd really try with these shows to come as an impartial. Back to what Botswana was saying.
You're not impartial.
I do try and come to the show as impartial.
Just be yourself.
No,
Martin wants Cookout, but he can't tell us.
I do. Because it's not my job to. Because if I said to you 6 months ago, Burson Slynn would play for Ipswich Town Football Club, you'd have said I was absolutely on Callie's green shoots. It's not my job.
I think you did tell me about 6 months ago that was going to happen.
It might be now, but it's not my job to know who may want this job or who Ashton, O'Leary and co would have the feelers out on.
You can't say you want someone gone and don't put out names.
Of course you can. I'm not a particular fan of the Prime Minister right now. I don't mean I can list the Prime Minister that should be in charge.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, I want anyone else but this guy. I want anyone else but this guy. Well, tell me who you want. I can't tell you who. Nonsense.
Well, I'd want Cruncher sat in that chair right now, but I'm not allowed it.
When we said we wanted Lambert out, we were giving you names left, right, and centre. We said Cook. We said Danny Cowley. You said Nigel Adkins. Yeah. Are they still below us, Charlton?
Yeah, he's having a terrible time. And if I was a Charlton fan, I'd be saying the exact same thing. But I'm not. Mastan, I love you. £5 super tigger. Callie says nobody heard of fatigue. Well, you got a big enough squad, Callie. Make a few changes. I was asking Friday, going away from home, would you make a couple of tactical tweaks, freshen things up? And the answer was no. But anyway, what I was going to say was, I'm hurting today because I can't see it. Yeah, because I can't see a way forward with this manager long term. Because the things I don't like about him as a manager, I can't see him changing. So I'm at that point now where it's like, well, you might have 3 wins out of the next 5. But out of the next 15, 20, 30, we'll be back to the same old in-game adjustment issues. And I'm wearing thin on it because it is 30 games nearly for me. You can say about Lambert's team, but it still was in-game adjustments, League One level of football. A good manager gets a decent recipe out of bad ingredients, even for a short period. As Kate was saying, no manager bounce. Though that's where I'm at with it. Now, obviously, I hope he turns it around. I hope he comes through and says, "There I go, Martin, have it right up the, the so and so." But I don't know if he will.
Well, is no one prepared to sort of try and build a foundation, a platform this season? And if it takes us to the top 6, it does. And if it doesn't, we've got a foundation for next season. It won't be a team that needs gelling because they all know each other, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't want it, do you? It's got to be now or never.
One member of the panel is Cook's love child. Guess who? No rational arguments, just blind loyalty.
Well, that's great from a comment from someone who's anonymous. Another anonymous comment.
Oh, no, take it on the chin. That's a good one. I like that one.
Put your name to your comments.
If he put a 5 with that, I'd have up the whole show.
Yeah. If you stick a tenner in, I'll take it on board. But
that's a stunning one.
Coming to me with anonymous comments.
Don't listen to Matt, guys and girls. He's hurting the same as we all are. He just can't ever bring himself to say he might have backed the wrong horse. I want to see Ipswich Town losing games. I want to see Cook take this team to the Championship, to the Premier League. Because as Edmondson told us, that is the route. That is the route. So I don't like seeing us lose to Accrington. Although shout out Accrington, Andy Holt came on our show. Top man. Love Andy Holt, just not yesterday. I've got the fisherman, Matt.
Oh, what? The guy who's not going to be on the show anymore and he's back on the show. That guy, he don't flip flopping. Go on and get him on.
Yeah, flip flopper. Flip flopper's here. Here he is.
Here he is.
Here's the flip flop.
48 hours ago he'd left. Now he's back.
Yeah, he's like a revolving door.
I wondered if that would get dragged up. At least I don't sit there on a show and tell fans they shouldn't be fans if they don't.
If you don't like it, don't.
No, that's out of order, Matt. That's out of order,
gun
mate.
to your head.
No, you can't.
There's no gun to your head to go.
You can't be saying that stuff to Ipswich Town fans, mate. Some of them have been going 45 plus a year. 45 plus years. Yeah. The end of the day is, listen, Matt, as fans, right, we have a right to moan and we have a right to say what we want to say. Okay. And we have a right to question whether it's wrong or whether it's right. Okay. Now, Tuesday night, I was buzzing my tits off. Okay. It was a great performance, right? Everything looked from the outside, from as if, right, do you know what? Maybe we have turned a corner. We dominated Donny. We played well. I had a great time with me, bro. And everybody was happy. We were buzzing and everybody was saying, look, maybe Cook's turned the corner. Yesterday was a prime example of why, even after the Donny game, some fans were still questioning whether Cook's the right man. Because I said on Tuesday that maybe this is just a plaster over what happened against Sheffield Wednesday, and I got berated for it. And now we lost to Accrington bloody Stanley, right? Because Paul Cook in-game management is probably, it's just inept, right? Accrington changed their formation yesterday to play against us, and it worked. Yeah, Paul Cook sticks to it. I tell you what, let's bring off 2 players, Selena and I can't think of the other one, Selena and whatever, and we'll bring on Edwards and Harper. Kept the same formation. We looked so disjointed yesterday again. It was embarrassing. We needed a formation change. As soon as we look, first half, I messaged Cruncher, this is awful. We needed a formation change of some description, or we needed a change of tactics because although we were winning 1-0, it looked like we were going to concede at some point. A bang on cue. Come second half, we conceded a really poor goal. And then we conceded another one. And then what happens? 10 minutes left, Norwood's brought on. That should have happened. I'd have brought Norwood on at half time because I tell you now, we could have, we were looking absolutely, just looking so disjointed. Cook, look, if this was Lambert in charge right now, everyone on this panel, maybe not Martin because he'd have his poster, right, would be calling for his head. Yeah. Now, as fans, look, I wanted Paul Cook, but bang on cue, love it. I wanted Paul Cook as a manager, but what I didn't want is Paul Cook and not his team.
Duncan Farrow, £50. Dunk, good. Look at that. That's my face right now, Dunk. Look at that.
That is brilliant, isn't it? That is absolutely
love
superb.
you, Dunk. Bloody hell.
That is brilliant.
Hey.
Yeah, well done, mate. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Thank you.
But
Fisherman up even better.
Matt, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Should we stick by him and all this lot? But we have to be realistic. I'm with Kate on this. We have to look at last season. He's won 6 out of 29 games. Yeah, we have the same goals scored against us than Doncaster right now. you know. And if it was only the fact that we scored 6 past them is the reason why we don't have a goal score. I get that I get to a point, Matt. I understand what you're saying, but we have to be careful. Even myself, yeah, right. We all have to be careful on you know, on our highs and our lows, you know. And right now, Paul Cook's in-game management isn't working. We know it. A lot of fans are seeing it. You know, if we'd have got a draw yesterday, it would have been something. I wouldn't have been happy, but it would have been something. I've always said, we get a away draw, that's something, and win our home games. But in all fairness, we've won 1 home game this season, 2 home games. No, one home game this season and 1 away game. And that ain't simply good enough. 10 points out of 30 possible points. And, you know, and we are literally a point or 2 out of the relegation zone. People say, is that relegation form? Yes, it is relegation form. Of course it's relegation form, because if we end up with a point a game for the rest of the season, that's 46 points. And that's enough to put us in League 2. And people say, oh, yeah, but we got 19 new players. We're going to got 16, the top of the league. And they've got an assistant manager that was with Paul Cook. So what does that tell you? In my opinion, and I'm pretty certain the evidence backs it up, and also there's other fans that possibly agree, is maybe Richardson was the brains behind the outfit. A bit like Culverhouse was with Lambert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the evidence is there. You know, how many times do we say, oh, well, we've got 112 points to play for, we got 108 points to play for, and then it's going to be, oh, we'll give him 5 games, we'll give him 10 games. I'll tell you what, let's give him to the end of October. Are we going to say at the end of October, in his position, oh, well, let's give him to the end of November, or at the end of November, we're going to say, that's all right, we'll give him till Christmas. The reality is, what Martin said about Watford, whether I like the fact that they got rid of so many managers, there was times when I was questioning it, but they have spent half their time in the Premier League. We've spent most of our time, lower half of the Championship, bar 1 season, or middle of the Championship, right? And now we're in League 1. We were in the playoffs under Lambert, yeah, and now we are floating just above the relegation zone in League 1. That is not good enough for this club. As a Town fan, we should be better. I wasn't expecting us to be. Look, we all had this situation where, you know, when all this takeover took over and we had players coming in, we were like HMS Pisser League and all this lot, right? That was just us giving each other banter, giving each other a little bit of, you know. The reality is, right now, we should be floating near the playoffs. Well, we're not. We're floating near the relegation zone. That's facts. And Paul Cook is a result of that. His words were after the I can't remember what game it was, we lost. He turned around and said, I've got Morsey, he will make a difference. Well, I don't blame Morsey for yesterday's performance, because half the time it went above his head to our forwards, and it ended up in the goalkeeper's hands. There was no structure to our play yesterday. We, you know, and people say, oh, you can't pass on that pitch. Absolute rubbish. I see Mildenhall Town, I see Bury Town play on worse pitches than that, and they can pass the ball. These are professional footballers that should be concentrating. I went and saw my mum this morning, right? She's not not a well person, but she turned around and said, footballers today tend to spend more time about their money and how much they're getting from their clubs than they are worrying about their actual talent that they have on the football pitch. Mm-hmm. And the reality is, you know, we need to have the Ipswich Town back that we had in the early 80s, in the 70s, and where players want to play football first and then worry about the rest later. And right now, it doesn't feel like we have. Donny was a great result, and I was buzzing because I was with my brother, and I loved that night. So I will take more memories of the fact that we won 6-0. I was with my bro, and we had a great night. But then you bring it back to reality. Right now, we are 19th in League 1. And quite frankly, being out-battled by who some tipped as a relegation team, Accrington Stanley. And we lost. That's the reality of it. So let's have some perspective. You know, let's not... Look, I get that fans want Paul Cook. Some fans love Paul Cook. I get that. And I respect that you like him. But we have to be careful when we say things like, if you don't like it, don't go. You know, at the end of the day, as we're Town fans, we are going to go. And when I would love to go every week. The reality is I can't because of my job. I get stick for that. You know? End of the day is I go when I can, but I will always watch a game if I can on iFollow, wherever way I do it. But I will always watch it because I'm a Town fan.
All right, great comments, Matt. Come back on him.
Yeah, some good comments there. I agree with most of it. But when we talk about perspective, then have the perspective that we're not even quarter of the way through the season. You can't judge the guy. Look, we gave Lambert loads of time. Would you all have Paul Lambert back? I doubt it. You gave Paul Lambert loads and loads of time. He was well past his sell-by, wasn't he, Mike? When he eventually got the bullet.
He was, but he was also playing with 2 4s and a 5. You know,
Moulsey's had. Look, everyone was buzzing over Moulsey, weren't they, on Tuesday night? He's had 3 games because he's playing that West Ham one. But in league games, he's had 2 games, one at home and one away. I'm pretty certain, Mike. Again, we're kind of sandwiched here between results because I do think we'll probably give Shrewsbury a good seeing to next week, and everyone will be buzzing again.
What happens if we don't know, Matt? What happens if we don't beat Shrewsbury?
Well, what happens if my granddad will?
Are we going to say?
Should be my granddad.
Are we going to say then? Oh, look, Cook needs more time. Are we going to keep saying how much more time can we give one manager? He's not. Look, you know, Paul said after 10 games, he's got a good idea where the club's going to finish. Absolutely, that comment there is bang on the money. Cook's quote.
He did say that.
Quote about
Cook also said we should make the playoffs when he first came in. He's got a history of. Cook also said this.
And he's the man that lost us our playoff position.
He's got a history.
With that. I know.
You should be. You're absolutely right. The question I'll ask you, Kay, is we're leaving ourselves a very, very fine margin of error. Okay. Have you got any confidence that this management team of Cook, Jeffers, Roberts and co. are good enough to navigate through that fine margin of error that they are going to leave themselves in terms of a push to a playoff or better?
So, okay, let's get one thing straight. I really want them to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
I really want them to do well. Like, I believe that they can eventually do it. I just don't believe that they can do it in a time frame which will appease the majority of fans, myself included. So when I say time frame, I sort of mean like the first half of the season, and then of course this season. Like, I expected them to take us up, and you might all say that that's very naive of me, but that's what I feel the expectation was, and I feel like the higher ups said that to the fans. Now I can't see it, and so my belief in them is starting to dwindle.
Okay, Matt, fine margin, and it is a fine margin now they're leaving themselves. What do you think?
It is, yeah. It was certainly more difficult than it was when they kicked off the season against Morecambe, absolutely. I've just been looking, while Mark was chatting now, I've just been looking at the table, right? And so we're sitting in 19th, we've got 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
Win takes you up to 14th with 13 points, and then you only have 6 points off the playoffs right now. There's only 3 points between first and 6th. So everyone's beating everybody at the moment. Listen, I always think back to when Keane took over at Sunderland, rock bottom under Niall Quinn in the Championship, took them up as champions. They were rock bottom after 5 games. 41 games later, they were crowned champions. Still loads of time.
Except one thing happened there, didn't it?
Were you saying it was a manager change?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair dues. But, you know, it's still from the same starting point. Still 10 games have only gone. We've still got 36 to go. I just don't get the negativity. On the back of Doncaster win, Accrington we lose, the world's over.
Okay, that's fair point. We've got
like you say about Ipswich fans have been going years and years. You should be used to this. This isn't Man City. You know, I've just come over and started Man City last years, right?
Well, look, like you rightly say, Matt. 20 years we've got, you know, but as we haven't done much in 20 years. But in fairness, right, as an Ipswich Town, have we become such fans that we have to accept mediocrity?
No, you should never accept.
Well,
that.
then, if we're not accepting mediocrity, then why are we saying, "Oh, give Cook more time"? Because quite frankly, Watford's board, Leeds board, didn't give their managers time, and look where both them teams are. You know, okay, Watford at the moment are in Championship, but they're still flying high. You know, Leeds are in the Premier League. You know, because they did what we are afraid to do, and that's change our managers. Even the scum did it. You know, they did it, and they got up.
That's actually a good.
He means Norwich. For those that are watching and not
a good example.
No, I'm not going to say that word.
He nearly went before the 1-1 with us, and that's when they started flying. Do you remember?
To answer you though, Matt, we've got a couple of things. First of all, running towards adversity has been mentioned, but also Curtis Yates. We were told this team would be mega fit. It wouldn't have mercy on League One. It wouldn't give up. All these things don't seem to be the case. Otherwise, why did they give up at 45 minutes?
What makes you think they gave up?
Well, no, okay. But why did they stop playing at 45? Because yesterday wasn't. But no, but yesterday wasn't the only game they went in at halftime leading and left at full time losing.
That's a nonsense comment. Who said they gave up? I think down tools, did they?
Okay.
Well, it appeared so. It appeared so. From my perspective, looking at it, it looked like we'd just come out and we thought, okay, we're going to win the play. From my perspective, looking at that game, first half we were lucky to be 1-0 up because there was not much happening.
Sorry, Mike.
And in the second half,
I think the important thing with Curtis, what Curtis was saying there in regards to what Matt was saying in terms of this is Ipswich Town, you should know it by now. He's kind of saying, look, we've had our expectations raised by God have mercy, run towards adversity. This will be a fit team. This will never happen again under my watch. We'll be better. We will be this. We will be that. That's where the expectation has gone from normal sleepy Ipswich to this. Is that not something that you can quite honestly sit there and say, okay, yeah, I can perfectly see why people are feeling the way they're feeling perhaps this morning?
No one ever asks the club those questions, though, do they? You know, I've got to be careful what I say because we talk about East Anglian Daily Times. It's almost like, you know, you've torn the Bible in two. But they never ask those questions in the press conference, do they?
Okay. All right. Right. I'm going to play an advert now. Fisherman, thanks for joining us. I've been Colin on the other side. Absolutely love being part of the show. Right. Quick word from our sponsor, and then we'll pick up where we left off. Ipswich Buses, your local bus company serving your football team. Buses run every 10 minutes. Avoid the traffic. Don't get stuck in the delay. Get Ipswich Buses today. A single £1.20, a return only £2. Find out more information at www.ipswichbuses.co.uk. I think that's probably what made it worse in the last 24 hours, and I can't have a drink, so I can't even sit back and enjoy an away day beer. But I suppose we're all hoping, Kate, you're hoping, Matt, you're hoping, that our performances over the next 5 will be a bit like Ipswich Buses. You'll wait for one, and then 2 or 3 or 4 will turn up, and we'll be sitting here in 5 games' time looking pretty. Before I bring Colin in, sort of, you know, to have his say, 5 games. I'm calling it 5 games to save the season. I'm going to stick with that. You've got Shrewsbury, followed by you've got Cambridge, Portsmouth, Fleetwood, and Plymouth. I'm not quite sure if that's the correct order, but those are the 5 games. What realistically, and we'll go into a bit more detail probably on Monday or Thursday's show, but realistically, what are you both wanting to see as a corner of upturning form? Foundations, new pillars of hope, whatever it may be. But what do you want to see from these 5 games as a points return? 15 points to play with. What are you saying is a bare minimum? I don't want your maximum. I want a bare minimum for a season being saved.
Got my notes here.
Beautiful. I love a girl that has notes. Matt, you got notes?
Mike's dropped in £4.49. I've got my Harrods notepad.
Good man, Mike. Look at that. All right. Okay. So what are we saying then? What are we saying?
All right. So I've got the fixtures in front of me here, actually. Here's a question. We've got Gillingham on Tuesday. No one's talking about, obviously, because it's EFL Trophy. Would you play yesterday's team in that game? Well, we said they should have done it in the West Ham game, but it didn't happen, did it?
He won't. In fact, I've written this week's article already and sent it off because Tuesday doesn't really, it's irrelevant. Not going to make any difference to anything whatsoever.
Get it out of the way. Okay. So we're going, what, Shrewsbury through to Plymouth, are we?
Yep.
For
Next
October.
5.
Okay, so I'm going to go 3 points against Shrewsbury. Then we'll get 3 at Cambridge. Portsmouth's going to be difficult. And that's again one of Cook's old clubs again, like it was yesterday. People forget he was Accrington manager. So it was a funny thing for him to go back as well. Feel like we could maybe lose at Portsmouth. Best case scenario is a point. I'll say we might lose there. Fleetwood win. And I think we'll go to Plymouth and win. I feel like, having watched Tuesday night and yesterday, I still feel like, and seeing the reaction that we've had over the last, from the Lincoln game after the Bolton game, I still think this squad has got enough talent in it to get moving.
So you're talking 12 points.
I'm going to say 12 points.
So you want 12 points, otherwise, that's your bare minimum expectation from the next 5.
Yeah.
12 points. Okay. We've got 10 from Rabbit Man, 15 from Graham Tate, 2 from Michael Finch. I'm not sure if that's pretty what he's expecting, not what would save the season, because that would be season dead and buried. Matt Dallard 6, Plymouth 3rd, 1 defeat in 11. Duncan,
they just struggled to beat Doncaster, so don't be thinking they're great.
Don't make promises you can't keep. The flannel we heard that is the reason for our anger is someone who has watched Town since 1977. This is the lowest in all my time. Plymouth, Portsmouth are tough. Ben says 9 points.
Slower than getting relegated out of the Championship? I don't think so. That was a real state. That was a real kick to faces. But this is the best. By the way, you'll clap them up when they got relegated. Remember?
But this is the best squad we've had probably since the Premier League days. Probably since Joe Royal days. This is the best squad we have had in a division comparative to its.
I'm with Ben Moore, 9 points in that time.
Difficult to compare.
So what are you saying then, Kate? You got obviously the 5 games in front of you. What are you feeling?
Well, I just think 9 points, but we'll probably end up with 5. Yeah.
Surely 5 would see him sacked. Surely 5, and that's curtains.
Well, I think he might go. We've got like a World Cup. We've got an international break, haven't we, in November?
We have.
And do you think
this weekend's one as well, isn't it? Next weekend.
Yeah, so he might go there, mightn't he?
He might go. So you're saying wow, you're being quite the talking Town trademark negative.
Yeah, that's fine. I can take the heat. It's fine.
She's thousands of miles away.
Exactly. No.
Trust me, it's boiling, and it's boiling hot here anyway. So more heat doesn't matter.
I agree with Richard. He won't go into it. It's too late to save the season. 5 points, Kate. That's depressed me even more than I thought I could possibly be.
The ball can't enter the final third. Like, chances aren't being made.
It's true.
And so
only yesterday. Plenty of goals being scored Tuesday night.
Yeah. But that's a fluke. That's not the regular.
It's true. She's also right there.
You can't say it's a fluke until you're halfway through the season. You're 3/4 of the way through the season. Oh, look, there was that one standout 6-0.
All right. Well, I hope for a 6-0 on Saturday. Then.
I hope so. Be great.
I think 13 3, 6.
You go 13. That's not more point than me. And you're a cook-outer.
No, I'm trying to think what because you can not win every single game. That's just not, but the margin, as I said earlier in the show, is very fine now to the point where you're going to have to put a run together of 5, 6, 7 wins on the bounce and look unstoppable at one point. Personally, if it's not 13 or more, season could be very much in the toilet. If it's anywhere near Kate's level, I think he'll be going by Portsmouth. But next 2 games are quite vital. I feel the next 2, Shrewsbury.
Incredibly winnable games, aren't they? Shrewsbury and Cambridge away.
Oh yeah. But I think if it's anything but 4 points, I think possibly even 6. Next 2 are so vital because you're entering a period where no one would ever say, "Oh, you've not given him enough time. You've not given him enough resources. You jumped too early," and all these different things. It just feels like Saturday's huge, and if they don't come out playing well early, the fans could maybe get on the back. I mean, had they not equalised against Wednesday, and they did, of course, but had they not, would the fans have booed them off the pitch? Do you feel, Matt, on the Saturday Wednesday game?
Don't know. Hard to say of our fan base.
I think they would have done.
Yeah.
We'll bring Colin in.
We've just booed a team off that was against a team that was in the Championship last season, and would still be there now if they hadn't got 12 points.
Big Granad Will should be a buy, because they often say, Colin.
You can't deny it. Sheffield Wednesday were in the Championship last season.
They were. Colin, my main man, welcome in. Talk to me.
Hi, mate.
Hi,
yeah, we've got 3 more minutes of Kate, and then we lose Kate Riley. Her internet is going to be switched off at our past. So I'll let you go now, Kate, actually, because Colin will get into one of his passion moments, and then we won't be able to say goodbye to you.
Yeah, I've got work in the morning. So
safe travel tomorrow.
Okay,
And
good to see
have
you.
a great rest of the evening. Nice to see you, Colin. The floor is yours.
Colin.
Fire away, my man. You have seen this team at its highest. You have seen it at its lowest. You have seen the best this team has had to offer in Bobby Robson. Matt tried to compare Cook to Robson yesterday evening. What do you make of it?
Well, I've got to start off by saying, like I've put in the chat, yesterday really hurt me. Yesterday, as a Town fan, Ipswich supporter, really hurt me because I thought, like a lot of other people, I thought, with Morsey coming in and the football that we played on Tuesday night, trying to be a little bit measured about all of this. There's been a lot of stuff flying about, and I think it's time, like, for us to do. I've only just started calming down, if I'm honest. And sorry, go.
I'm glad you have, because I haven't. I'm still.
Oh well, Gov. There's no difference between you and me and Matt and anybody else. There's no difference whatsoever. We're Town through and through.
We are.
Perhaps maybe I haven't calmed down, but I'm trying to calm down. And I'm trying to be measured. Gov, I'm trying to be measured about this. Like I say, on Tuesday night, not only did we score 6 goals, we played very well. We played some very, very good football. We ripped that team apart. Could have been 7, 8, 9, possibly. Could have been an Old Trafford, if you like. Okay? Quite easily could have been an Old Trafford. Yesterday, they played a very, very good side in MK Dons. As good a passing and keeping the ball side as there is in this league. And they turned them over 2-1. Now, no, I didn't read anything in my paper this morning about the travelling that it done. When they went down to Plymouth, and then they came up to Ipswich, then they went back to Doncaster, of course. That didn't seem to come into the equation yesterday, but they still turned over a very good MK Dons after another 180 miles home. Right? Now, take 180 miles off, right? And apparently it affected them at Portman Road, but it didn't affect them yesterday, right? So, we've got to start being more levelled about all this. And the games that you just read out all while ago.
Yes, mate.
I'm going to go through those now, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely. The floor is yours, Colin. It's your club, your state.
Shrewsbury, I think a decent win, maybe 2 or 3-0. Followed by Cambridge, and everybody seems to be getting so het up about playing Cambridge at the Abbey. I agree with people that it won't be overly easy. But it's Cambridge United. Let's get this into perspective, Gov.
I agree, 100%.
I love you, Gov. I love you because you're actually listening and you're actually taking it all. It's Cambridge United, Matt, Gov. It's Cambridge bloody United. And we're not playing Norwich, or we're not playing Burnley, or we're not even playing Brighton. We're not even playing somebody like Cardiff. We're playing Cambridge United away.
Spot on.
Now, that should be 3 points in my opinion. Then we go down to Pompey, a game that me, Rich, Callie and the boys are going to. I would be very happy right now with a point there. I think they're more than capable. Again, we're now talking about a side. Yes, great result yesterday. Don't take that away from Pompey. But we're now talking about a side who've been on quite an awful run. I know Accrington had, before anybody says anything. But Pompey been on quite a bad run. Okay, be buoyed by yesterday, and maybe I think their game is called off on Saturday next week. So I'd be more than happy with a point at Pompey, followed by
Fleetwood.
help me go.
Fleetwood.
Followed by Fleetwood, 3 points all day long. I think we turned a corner at home. I think we got the monkey off the back. I would go for a 2 or 3-0 again against Fleetwood, possibly 2-0. And then followed by Plymouth. Now, Rich knows exactly what I'm going to say about Plymouth. This is a team on the South Coast. They're not big-time Charlies. They're a very, very, very good side who play very good, decent football. They do, Gov. They've got results to back it up, and they've got a very, very good coach. So I would possibly take a point there as well, but I'm hoping for 3, obviously. So wrapping those games up, I would probably go for hoping we'll win at Plymouth. I'd be hoping we get at least 12 to 13 points out of those 5 games. I think that's quite possible.
On
I think that's what we.
Yeah. Just to cut across you there, they had a similar start, not quite as good, but a similar start last year, and then they tailed off and reverted back. So they're a decent side by all means at the moment, but by the time we play them, I do feel it'll be very different, and I think we'll be looking at it through different lenses as to they're playing well. But yeah, I agree with what you say. I think any a trip that far is hard. Is hard for anybody.
All I'm saying is, Gov, if you've been there, home part, they do very much, a bit like Portsmouth, they do very much get behind their side. They're a great bunch of fans, not because I'm like a Devon and Cornwall man, I go down there every year for holidays. I love those people. But they are very, very passionate about their football club at Plymouth. They really, really are.
Do you think their location also helps them in the sense of it's a very
100%.
long, hard trip for any team in this division?
100%. And I'll tell you what, 100% right. And a person who me and Venetia used to go to B&B, he lives near Mevagissey, which is a good 60-odd miles from Plymouth, and he's the older. He goes every game. It's about a drive like it would be like from Bury St Edmunds to the outskirts of London. Wow. I mean, he goes every. Yeah, they follow their side, but but getting back to yesterday, the thing that disheartened me more than anything else, Matt and Gov, is, like I say, after the Lord Mayor's show, we was given such a great show on Tuesday night, and I think a lot of people in the chat are quite right, in as much as quite a few people have put, did we go up there maybe thinking we've only just got to turn up? And if that was the case, if you think you're going to be able to, the players, if any of the players watch this, I mean, you're the professional players, you should know it more than I do. But if any professional players think you can rack up at somewhere like Accrington on a rainy old October day and just turn up and they're going to give you the 3 points, wake up, for goodness sake, wake up, because that's just not going to happen. But I feel so sorry, because obviously, I mean, and loads of Rich and loads of other people have done it all the time. I've racked up the country, here, there, and everywhere, and it costs you a lot of money. It's not just the time; it's the money. It's the time away from your family. You give up a lot. You give up a lot, and that's very costly these days. And like Richie Wellens and their staff and their director said the other night about the Doncaster lot, they said, we're going to reimburse, I think it was 164. We're going to reimburse those 164 fans. Well, they were in the dry. They were in Gov's blessed cobbled stand. They were in the dry, kind of. You do get a trickle come through there occasionally, apparently. But yeah. But let me just say, they were or are going to be reimbursed. If the owners are watching this, most of our fans, I've been to Accrington, I know it. Most of our fans were soaked through to the skin yesterday, cold.
You're not going to say it, are you? You're not going to say it. You're not going to ask for a refund, are you?
Please think about it. Please think what those supporters went through yesterday, and I'll let you, the directors, the chairman, the CEO, and the owners, have a little think about it. All think about what you might do for those 800 odd supporters.
Colin, take a breath. Matt, Colin's almost calling for a refund there. What do you think of that?
Well,
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't.
The Cruncher wouldn't agree with that, Colin, because he didn't think they should get a refund. The Donny fans. Look, we said on Friday night, you go, you pay your money. It's not a film. It could be good. You could come home ecstatic.
I get that.
Come home pissed off and soaking wet, which they did yesterday. It's the reality of it.
No, Matt, let me just say, I'm a person who's seen thousands of games, and I've I never wanted. I'll tell you what, when I went to Old Trafford, and I could mention loads of others, right? When I went to Old Trafford with my boys, God knows what that cost me that day, and I saw a 9-0 defeat. I didn't write any letters to Portman Road asking for a refund. So if I can do that, I'm just saying, all I'm saying, Matt, and I'm not trying to get out of it at all, because I've done the T-shirt, never, ever, ever been given a refund. But all I'm saying is just think sometimes the players, what those fans have to go through.
Absolutely.
It's a lot.
UK says, do something for the fans, sack Cook. I want to ask you, actually, because you brought up the 9-0. I want to ask both of you. A comment I saw on Twitter. Think back to the Burley days, took over a poor set of players, failed to improve them that season, changed things in the summer, then very hit and miss first half of the next season. But you could see it was installing a style and system. Did people want him out? No. Is that a fair comment to make? I'll start with yourself, Matt, and then we'll come to Colin, because Colin was at the 9-0. Is that a fair comment to make, or are we trying to compare apples with oranges, both fruits, but you can't compare the two? What do you think?
What, with Burley?
Yeah, with what I've just said there.
Well, I mean, I didn't go to the 9-0, but I went to the game after at White Hart Lane, where I think we got done 3-0. And it was just like, everyone, I think after that, everyone was just expecting relegation. But I suppose the fact that Burley came, Colin, didn't he, as a town legend, someone had done really well at Ayr United, then Colchester, then come to us. We'd pissed Colchester off by getting him. I don't know. I think town fans like the fact that there was a town legend at the helm. But again, you never know. He could have got sacked early doors, and we'd be on a different trajectory. But
that's the question. Yeah. He struggled in the Premier League, got relegated, and the following year didn't set the world alight. Had a similar start to Cook.
It turned out to be a good decision in the end, didn't it? Because he gave us probably the best season we've had in since we probably won trophies. That when we finished 5th in the Premier League. But we talk about Robson. I mean, now you're here, Colin. I've read stuff. We're doing the Talking Town Time Machine. It says 71. Man United beat us 3-0, 3-1. George Best.
3-1.
All the town fans were singing Robson out, and John Cobbold said,
Matt, let me stop you. Whoa. Let me stop you.
Here he goes.
I was at that game with my dear father. And when people, and not just yourself, but lots of people who, and it's not your fault, it's not anybody's fault, who's under a certain age.
It is.
Who wasn't there. But it wasn't masses. I can remember that night as if it was yesterday. It wasn't masses who were saying Robson out. In fact, there was a lot of town fans who were kind of going, shaking a finger. Oh, yeah, come on.
It was one man.
Yes,
it was Gov in his time machine.
Yeah. Yes, there was Robson out calls. I would never deny that. But it wasn't masses, Matt. And
Robson had
the thing is, wait a minute, Gov, wait a minute. The thing is, in defence to the great man, right? In 1968-69, when Ipswich had just gone up under Bill McGarry, Bill McGarry, bless his heart, because he got us up. He'd been the manager for the previous 2 or 3 years, I think it was. And Bill McGarry got us up. And then Bill McGarry was just like, you know, the old boy who leaves a factory and goes to another factory, thinks the grass is greener. But 9 times out of 10, it ain't. Anyway, Bill McGarry got the call from Wolverhampton Wanderers, jumped ship and left us, went to Wolves, okay? And the great man came in from Fulham, Sir Bobby, okay? And he took over in January or February of 69. Is that right? Yeah, 69.
Right.
And he, because we wasn't doing brilliant when Bob came in, and he he signed 2 players. I'll never forget it. Signed 2 players. Jimmy Robertson. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was how old was I? 57. So I was about 12, 13. Signed Jimmy Robinson from Arsenal. He'd previously played for Spurs in the cup final and scored in 67 against Chelsea. And oh my God, we signed a player from Arsenal. Never heard of at that time. Then we signed, and also at the same time we signed Frank Clark, Alan Clark's brother. And any of you my age or older will remember this. Jimmy was playing on the wing, Frank Clark number 9, and they basically, not single-handed, but double-handed, so saved us. You know, they were absolutely brilliant. Jimmy was in the wing, put them in, Frank Clark scoring them, and you know, saved us and kept us in Division 1. In fact, we finished quite well in the end. You know, we had a really good end to the season and stayed up. And as they say, obviously we had this little hiccup, if you like, in 71 season. We're 2 years later. But again, the Cobbles, you know, did the right thing rather than, you know, shoot him. They
well, that's what I was going to. That's what
they gave him a new contract, and he just went from strength to strength from then onwards. You know, it was just onwards and upwards. And I would hope, you know, I would hope that that people with this squad, because it is a very good squad, I keep saying it, but it is. I hope that these 5 games that the great Carve just mentioned, we get these points and
right.
You know, we stabilise and go on from here. Absolutely. You know, do we want, like Rich quite rightly says, do it, and I think Matt has said it, do we want to become a sacking club? I certainly don't want that.
Yes, I do. If it means success, yes, I do. Yes.
Well, I get that, Gov, but we don't. Yeah, I absolutely get that. I don't want to sound a hypocrite, but I would absolutely love for, like Kate said, I think it was Kate or was it Matt? One of the two said earlier, if
they're very similar.
If Cook succeeds, the club succeeds, the team succeeds, we succeed, we go up, we're back in the Championship, and then we go on from there. You know, but I do agree with you. I do agree with you, Gavin. Is, you know, if the axe on Cook means that we as a club we go on from here, I do agree with you. But I want Cook to succeed, like I know Matt does.
Absolutely, Colin. It's been a real pleasure. I'm going to bring Neil in a second. Thank you for popping by and giving us your wisdom as always. Look after yourself. Hopefully we'll speak soon. Neil, I know you've been waiting a while, so thank you for waiting on. Welcome in. How you doing?
Hi guys. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, I did before I go on to anything else, Martin. I did my run about 3 weeks ago and raised just over £3,000 in the end.
Yes, what a man! £3,000. Good work, man. I knew you were doing it. I did 3 weeks ago. I do apologise. Time is a vacuum, and it just escapes me.
I'm still feeling it a bit, to be honest. I think it was a killer of a run. It was hell of a killer of a run, that. But no, it was good. I was going to say to Colin, because
he'll still be listening. He will still be listening.
Yeah, I think I've said to you before. Obviously, I'm from Plymouth originally. I live in Somerset now. I watched Plymouth loads as a kid, and I was there Tuesday night when they played Crewe Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So, like Colin said, yeah, that's not going to be an easy game. I mean, they're especially their away support. It's probably some of the best away support I think you'd ever see. I mean, they're so vocal, they are. Yeah, it was good to be there Tuesday, but I'm hoping to. Obviously, I don't get to watch Town much, but I'm hoping to be there for the Plymouth Ipswich game in a few weeks. So I'm back down in Plymouth, and I've managed to get in contact with some Somerset fellow Ipswich fans, hoping to get me a ticket. So I'm hoping to be in the Ipswich end.
Nice. But before we get there, we want to obviously put a little bit of a run of form together. The 5 games we've got, Plymouth is the last of those 5. What's the minimum points return that you are expecting as a fan to sort of save the season, if you like? Because it is that sort of levels of desperation now, where we're looking at the league table and the margin for error is getting smaller and smaller. What do you want? What are you expecting from the 5 then, Neil?
To be honest, Martin, I don't think we'll get more than 10. I don't think 10's bad. I can't see us getting more than 10 points, Martin. I can't.
Okay. Here's another question to you both. Shrewsbury, Saturday. We're now going to live in the realms of ifs, buts, and maybes. What happens if we lose on Saturday? Does that change anything for either of you? Does it accelerate anything for either of you? Where does it leave yourselves? I'll start with Matt, and then we'll come to yourself, Neil, so you can think of an answer there. So what do you think, Nat? If we lose on Saturday to Shrewsbury, what happens?
Depends what kind of loss it is, isn't it? If it's like
really?
a 1-0 penalty or a set piece or an own goal, and it's been a good performance. But if it's a 5-2 like Bolton, I don't think anyone's going to tolerate that again. I want to say, but I do think we'll probably win quite comfortably. I'm going to say it now.
Okay, Neil, Matt thinks we're going to win quite comfortably, and I'm sure you probably do. And being a Town fan, I think we will as well, because I think we win every single game. Never happens, but there we go. But what happens, as some have asked in the chat, what happens if we do lose on Saturday? Does that change anything for you in terms of cook in, out, accelerate things in terms of looking at a manager? What happens if we lose, Neil?
I just think what you've spoke about, Martin, the next 5 games, I don't look so much at this game Saturday. Obviously, if it's a bad defeat, like Matt says, they don't want another result like Bolton, but no disrespect to Shrewsbury. They're not going to come in at 5 past us at Portman Road. There's just no chance of that. But I mean, I think you've got to look at break it down in the next 5 games. I think if you've not got much of a return from then, you've really got to start asking some questions, Martin, haven't you, really, from the next 5, because you don't want a season just to keep ticking on all the time.
No, exactly. So you need that minimum points return. Is that how you go into this next 5 then, Neil? With a target of minimum expected is say 12, and the moment that becomes unachievable,
wow.
is that when you pull the trigger, or what do you do?
I think the minimum is 10 points, Martin. I think that's the minimum for certain is 10. I mean, my views on the next 5 is the next 2 games we'll win. Like Matt says, Pompey, I think we're going to lose that game. Be good to get a draw, but I think we'll lose it. I think we'll beat Fleetwood, and we could well win at Plymouth, but I think you'd take a draw. That's not an easy place to go either. I'm not saying that as a bias because I'm from Plymouth, but I just think it'll be a tough game to go, and I think you'd be quite happy to take a point down there. But I don't think you can afford to get less than 10 points, really.
Okay, so 10 points from yourself. Matt, I've forgotten what you was, and I know you went through and you said
12,
12 13. So the moment
Shrewsbury beating Wimbledon and Gillingham this season.
Yeah,
that's their 2 rounds. Yeah. I mean, look, Paul Cook's not going to be sitting there going, "Oh God, it's Shrewsbury." He's going to be thinking it's galvanised his side after Saturday. And put in a performance like they did after the Sheffield Wednesday game against Doncaster. This is what, we took, like Colin's saying, positive minds there. This is the problem we've got as fans, I think. It's either everyone's really ecstatic or everyone's really down in the dumps like they are after yesterday. But the fact is, Cook has said, no, there's no bigger Ipswich Town fan than me right now because I'm the manager of this club. So get behind him. It must be very difficult to do your job with everyone just pointing fingers at him. Oh, if he doesn't win that game, he's going to have to go. I mean, bloody hell, the geezer's doing his best. He can. And at the moment, it's not hit the mark that we want to. But the point I was going to make when Colin was on, Martin, was that John Cobbold said, I want to give Bobby Robson 2 years after that game in 71. I want to give him 2 years. Had he not done that, you wouldn't have had those memories of 78, the 81. You would have them 2 shows on at the Wolsey Theatre, being, everyone's loving so much. And we see fit to judge Cook after 10 games.
It's not 10 games though, is it?
It is though, isn't it?
Okay. But then you look at Robson, and he had a bit of credit in the bank from a fairly so-so first year. Paul Cook's first year, which you're refusing to look at, was crap, because that's why we refuse to look at it. If it finished inside the playoffs, you would not be sitting here saying, well, it's only 10 games, isn't it? You'd be sitting here cherry picking last year and saying, well, he took Lambert's side and did really well with it. That's what I'm taking umbrage with. Fans, because it wasn't a great year, are refusing to look at it. Whereas if it was a good year, they'd be including it right now and saying, well, look, he's got a track record. Last year took Lambert's team and did okay. And in respect to what you said about positive minds, let's be positive. I'm not a Paul Cook fan because he is not Ipswich Town Football Club. He is a manager. He is currently in position to manage my side. He is not my side. I'm a Ipswich Town fan. I look long term.
You can say that about any manager. You can say that about Bobby Robson coming.
Yeah, which is why I subscribe to the Watford idea of don't buy a house in Watford if you're a manager, because you're not going to be staying here long. Because it's the football club that we care about, and I care. Are we getting it right now? And if we're not, let's get it right.
It's a very different mindset at Watford because they're owned by Italians, and that's part and part. It's a sacking culture in Serie A, isn't it?
I just feel. This is, for everything Robson did for us, which was brilliant and will never be rivaled and will never be taken away from us. The start he had, which was then met with a little bit of not great form and fans wanting him out, that has also held us back. Because every single time you've had a manager be questioned, you've had every fan say, oh, we wanted Robson out after so-and-so. Look how that turned out. But yet you're now comparing Cook to Robson, and Cook will never be a Robson as long as I've got hole in my arse.
I'm not saying he's going to be, but in terms of, you might agree with this now, I'm not saying he's going to be, but in terms of, you're suddenly putting on you're putting the trigger on potential of what could happen after just 10 games of a 46-game season. Could set us back more. Yep. Remember, he's brought players in to play 4-2-3-1. So the next manager's got to be able to play 4-2-3-1, right? That's why those players are here.
Yeah. I listened to I was listening to a different podcast yesterday, and there was a young not as good as this one, but there was a young lad with his dad after the Accrington game, and I thought he spoke ever so well, this young lad. It was brilliant what he said, and I totally agree. He said we have to adapt in this league. If we can't start adapting here, we're in trouble, because, not being funny, half of this league play like Accrington Stanley. And if we can't change how we can adapt in games and be proactive, we're just going to be in League One again next season and keep talking. And it is frustrating because we just seem to lack like a real fight when the weather is bad, or I know it's not an excuse, or the pitch isn't quite right, and it seems to happen. I mean, I was sat at home, I was watching Sky News and just things like that. And I just thought the longer this game goes on, it was 1-0. I listened to your halftime chat. I was doing something else, come back, it was already 1-1. I thought, well, what's going on here? We've let it go in nearly just after half time. Then the longer the game was going on, you could just see what was happening. And when the go came, I just thought, my best mate messaged me and said, he put a bet on Ipswich. I said, every time you back my team, we lose. Can you stop doing it? And then a couple of minutes after that, they've gone and let another go in Ipswich. I messaged him again. Oh, we're losing again now. He tipped us for promotion at the start of the season and put a bet on us. Not masses of money, just a smallish bet. He said, surely with the team you've got, Neil, and I agree with Colin. Best 11 in the league is not a shadow of a doubt. There's no team that can rival our best 11, but you've got to do it on the pitch, haven't you? And you need fighters. And I do question where, I mean, I've supported since '84. I've only been to Portman Road once. I've been to away grounds, Reading and Southampton, and a lot of other grounds to support Ipswich. Probably the main two things since '84, probably that I've seen as a fan, is probably, was it '92? Was it John Lyle when we went up? Was it '92? Yeah. And probably the best one for me, probably since I've supported Town, was 2000. I mean, that was fantastic. When I couldn't get there, I watched the whole game through, and it did sort of bring tears to my eyes when we went up and lifted the trophy and everything. It was,
that's really good point. I was thinking that yesterday. That's the only time I've ever seen him just lift a domestic trophy at Portman Road. 92.
Yeah.
From that's why I don't understand why everyone gets so down on these defeats. We're not defending silverware. We're at the start of the process.
Good point.
I mean, the thing is, when you look at 2000, and then you're talking about, I mean, there are in the team now, there are some battlers, but when you look back in 2000, you had like Venus and Mowbray, all right, not the most mobile always, but wow, they were passionate, weren't they? And then you had Matty Holland, fantastic captain. You had Magilton, he was, and then even Jermaine Wright and people like that would put their foot in, and then class strikers up front. I mean, it doesn't just seem enough battle and fight in the team, does it? To what you had even back then, those players, Absolutely. Like Matty Holland, his passion was for the shirt, wasn't it? Matt Holland, week in, week out, Ipswich, he was just a fantastic player.
I think you'll see that with Morsey. I do feel like Morsey could be a new Matt Holland character for us. He's only done 2 games, everybody.
Yeah, a lot of them have only done 10 games. So yeah, it's obviously a little bit early to say. I think what Richard here says is true. And he's made some good points today, whether you like it or not, Matt, is if you come into a big club relative to the league and get lots of money, pressure comes with that. If Cook hadn't have had the money, like Lambert, then fans would be less impatient. But
I can see why Cook doesn't want to have last season's record against his name, because half them bloody players have been picked up in League 2 teams. Yeah, absolutely. That's how good they were, everybody.
And Colchester are hardly pulling up trees. Anyway, we are back tomorrow at 8:30, Talking Town Extra Time, to carry on the conversation. Myself, Amy, who was at Accrington, and Graham, who should have been at Accrington, but of course, like Colin, seen a lot of good football over the years, and remembers a lot of the good times. We'll be live. We'll be a live link. You can get involved as you want to, live chat as they have done today. But Neil, appreciate you being on the show. Thank you very much. Look after yourself, Matt. Been a busy show. It's been a fantastic show, a passionate show, lots of talking points, lots of over the top reaction, lots of positivity, lots of negativity. It's Talking Town at its best.
Yeah. It's been a good show, everybody. Look, I can see why people are emotionally invested in it all, but sometimes you just need a little reality. It's like I said on Friday, my wife's running the marathon today for Sarcoma UK, and her cousin died at 28 from cancer. At the end of the day, it's just football. And we're emotionally invested, and we bleed blue and white. At the end of the day, it's just football. Let's give Paul Cook some time. We know he's going through a hard time as well. Just give him that time. We're only 10 games in. A long way to go.
Absolutely. He is the media mogul, Matthew Phillips. We have had Mrs. Worldwide, Kate Riley, on the show. We have had the fans on the show. I am the Gov. This is an FCA finalist presentation of Talking Town. You support us through Ko-Fi. Every pound gets back into the platform. Subscribe if you've not yet done so. And if you're watching this back or watching it live and you've got some positive comments for us, leave some positive comments from this weekend's game on the YouTube site, and I'll make sure they get shown tomorrow during Talking Town Extra Time. But for now, with love, with care, bye-bye.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without what's been holding us back now. Let's move closer to a new history.